For those of you that have joined throughout the day, my name's Nicole Lowe and I lead KPMG's Emerging Giants practice. So that's our work directly with entrepreneurs of fast growth and high potential businesses. So I'm really looking forward to this panel. So I'd like to invite my fellow panelists up to the stage, please. Thank you so much for joining us. Really good to have you. And it'd be great if we could just go down and just have some introductions from you all. So do you want to start, Tara?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Tara, so nice to be here. I'm the founder of Jira Health. We're an AI native healthcare finance platform based in Kenya. My background is in finance and investing. I started my career at Evercore here in London. I was an M&A banker for 5 years, and then joined the World Bank and their investment arm, investing in fintech startups across emerging markets. I also worked with another growth equity firm called Apis, also based in London, and then have been in the startup space, specifically focusing on Africa for the last 3.5 years. Yeah, great to be here.
Hi. Does it work? Hi. My name is Z. My life goal is to unlock freedom through entrepreneurship. I sold my company last year, so I kind of got freedom. So right now, trying to get more founder freedom.
Hi, my name is George. I'm the CEO of TeslaSuit. TeslaSuit is a company that is pioneering full-body haptic technology for human performance. So I'm here with the TeslaSuit today to talk about that, but also we're focused on really helping bring haptics, motion capture, and biometric data together so that companies can simulate, train, capture data, and optimize human performance across many different sectors. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's amazing to have such a panel with such vast experience and global experience as well. So really looking forward to getting into this conversation. So we've spent this morning talking about AI at a macro level. So the investment flows, policy frameworks, the infrastructure race. But we're going to bring it back down to earth a little bit about how it works in practice, because behind every headline number is a founder that's making the decision about whether to build or buy, what to do about imperfect data, about how to hire, or maybe whether they need to hire. Thinking about JP's talk earlier. But frankly, it could be how to tell the difference between a genuine competitive advantage and a feature that GPT-5 will make obsolete in just 6 months' time. So that tension between the extraordinary opportunity that AI presents us and the very real complexity that's building with it is exactly what this panel is about. And I'm sure you'll agree, this panel, across this panel, sits the intersection of three of these exact questions. So rather than talking about AI in abstract, I want us to get into the real specifics, the realities, the mistakes, and the moments where maybe the hype didn't match the reality, and the opportunities that genuinely do. So let's dive right in. And Z, you have a bootstrap first, a profit first philosophy, which offers a grounded counterpoint to today's AI-fueled rush to build faster and scale earlier. But what major shifts are you seeing in early stage investment now that AI has lowered the cost of building software? And perhaps where do you think founders should be careful not to confuse that faster building with building a better business?
Right. So I always ask founder to build slowly. As building becomes cheaper, as what I've been seeing development costs trending to zero. It's not zero yet, but it will trend to zero. Your moat is actually your distribution. So we call it access to problems. So what your competitive advantage used to be when I was a founder 15, 20 years ago, if you can build faster, you win. You win faster. Today, assuming as time goes on, everybody can build fast. So that it's no longer what we look for first. So what we look for first is access to problem and actually access to people that has those problems. And that start from like, what do you try to solve? A lot of young founders look for their own daily problems, which is not wrong. But I always ask them to dig a little bit deeper, is find their own people. If you're a lawyer, you have lawyer friends, or a lot of time is not just you, is people around you. Maybe you're working in a company that you hate, but they do, let's say, legal or medical issue. So you see that inside. So to answer your question, um, as development cost becomes lower, we need to build slowly. We need to get to problems first and people with the problems first. So I'm not directly answering your question, but yeah. So that's the state of where we are, because development is no longer the competitive advantage, and that also brings about a lot more people can now start. In the past, a lot of time, like when I was start, everybody need a business person and a technical person. Right now, if you so inclined, everybody can go be both with the help of AI.
Thank you. No, that's really interesting. And Tara, I saw lots of nods during that. So, touring maybe from your experience in institutional investment firms, how is the AI revolution shaping how these larger funds are evaluating the opportunities?
Yeah. I have to think back a couple of years when I was in investing, and my views might be slightly biased because I was mostly focusing on emerging markets. But, a couple of years ago, we were just spending, growing. Unit economics follow later. I don't think that VCs would think about the opportunity in the same way anymore. I think a lot more can be done with a lot fewer resources. You're able to iterate on your product much faster at much lower cost. And we see companies, scaling much faster and more profitably. And so I think that's the first thing. And the second thing is that, as you already said, even if I think about the technology that we are building, I mean, we are a B2C company. And I'm just thinking people can replicate this very fast. I mean, technology is not what's going to sustain us. But what sustains us are, I think, as you already mentioned, distribution, having access to customers, having those people's trust, having brand with them, and then lastly, having proprietary data from them. In our case, is financial and health data that we're collecting on them and using the data in combination with the technology to deepen our moat increasingly, creating more trust, creating a better relationship and understanding with the customer. And I think that's kind of what's going to sustain us as a business in the medium to long term, making sure that we will be continuing to be relevant. But it's certainly not the ability to build technology. I think there's still some wisdom, around architecting, building in regulated industry, but it has certainly become a lot easier and cheaper. I mean, I can give as an example, in our company, our visual designers are now coding, right? Like if they see something that's wrong in their app, we make it a requirement now that they actually take initiative themselves. They're empowered now through AI to do a lot more things. Just to give you an example of how easy it really is to make changes and in code. Someone who is a visual designer who has no coding experience now basically changes our code in our company very easily.
The whole workforce is completely changing. It's super interesting and amazing to hear how you're kind of putting it into practice as a founder now. Thank you. So George, your work with TeslaSuit, and obviously you've got previous roles, and it's some really exciting businesses that place you at really unique sort of cutting edge side of AI. So where do you see the most compelling investment opportunities at the intersection of AI, spatial computing, and physical hardware?
Yeah, thanks. It's an interesting question. Yeah, I didn't mention I previously worked at Hewlett Packard and Meta. So just for context, I've been in the virtual reality world for quite a while. I think what's interesting about the current state is that I've said this, that there's Andreessen's quote that software is eating the world. And I think AI is eating software very quickly. And so people are really questioning and thinking again about the value. But even when software was eating the world, I'm a hardware guy by background, and I would always speak to people and say, you can't run your software without some kind of hardware, right? Everybody would pull out a phone or have some device that runs this software. So the human is always in the loop, right? And that's where TeslaSuit is really focused. I think that the opportunities as AI is developing and opening up the markets kind of goes back to what Z was saying, is it allows more people to try to do things that they haven't done, right? We can have greater access to the speed and efficiency of AI, but also even things in the hardware world like rapid prototyping, 3D printing. There's a lot of things that have made access to creating new ideas and products much easier. But it also goes back to what Z was saying, that you need to have customers with real problems, right? I think there's been a lot of tech across the last 20 years or more of that people have an idea of a technology that they think can solve a problem, but they don't start with the problem. They start with the technology. So at Tesla Suit, we know what our suit can do. We think it's really impactful, and we're doing things across different spaces, from training to medical to now humanoid robotics. And it can do a lot of things, but it's not fundamentally about the technology. It's about the person and what the person wants to do, or the business, what the business wants to achieve. So I think investors should be looking for that fit of, where is the long-term fit and strategy for this? That's not just tech looking for a solution, but real problems being solved by real technology, real entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's a really brilliant takeaway. Thank you. And perhaps now to Z, given your background in data security and patents, how can early stage AI native startups build that defensible data moat that you mentioned earlier when competing against some of these incumbent tech giants with these massive data war chests?
Right. So that's a tough question. Every startup worry about like becoming irrelevant Monday, right? So by Monday, Anthropic release a new version, eat your startup, right? So there's a website called Kill by Claude. Yeah. So it actually still does go back to access to people. Like data is important, right? But trust is important, like you were saying. So I tell founders to not focus on building. We're tech people. We love to build. And I think for the last decade or so, the entire startup ecosystem is built around building, built around tech people. I think we have to change it. Like in our incubation program, we don't call demo day. We call it customer day. It's like, don't build, go talk to people. And it's hard. It's extremely difficult to start with an idea instead of building, because you want to build, you want to see the thing. But important to talk to people, and then from people, you will then get data. And it's important to get to trust first, because at the end of the day, like we almost have to get to a point where even if someone has the ability to create the same thing as you do, your people will buy from you, and that's your moat. And it's equal to the data, right? So like you get the people first, and if they trust you, buy from you, even assuming Anthropic has similar problem, right? Then you have a chance. Right now, I mean, I always say, like I grew up, quote unquote, in the mobile era. When I was starting, the line is very clear. Apple does the hardware. Google does the hardware. We build apps, right? Like they build apps too, but they're not going to eat every single app. You're at the app layer. Right now, it's still not clear where the app layer is. Is agent the app layer, or is skill the app layer? That is tough. So I don't have an answer for that. Like, but at the end of the day, it goes back to actually non-tech, non-AI, more people. Yeah. And that's why I fly over here, right? Human interaction is much more important. So
Yes, that's great. And a great follow-on as well from George. People and problem first is a really nice takeaway. Brilliant. So Terry, you've navigated a number of really dynamic sectors. So from fintech, gaming to digital health across really diverse markets globally. But in your view, where is AI genuinely acting as a transformative catalyst, unlocking true innovation and reshaping industries rather than just being a bit of a buzzword or something to add to your pitch deck?
When I think about some of the industry that you've mentioned, I think that today AI has an impact in a number of the operations. Let's say, for example, user acquisition and marketing is really important for gaming companies to acquire gamers. I think there's a lot of innovative things going on with AI, or if it's customer service. But I think when I really think about those industries, and even my own industry, which is essentially healthcare, finance, and Africa, insurance, I think the real opportunity is to build new type of companies that use AI truly as a foundational layer. I think AI native companies has been a term that has been throwing around for a while. But if I think about the incumbents that are dominating some of these large industries, I think it will be very hard for them to truly, set themselves up to work with AI agents in a way, to have the data structures that allow that, to have the guardrails to allow you to really harness the potential of AI. And I think that, there's this saying, what was it? Who's faster, startup getting distributions or incumbents getting to innovation? And I think it's going to be very hard for incumbents to truly get to AI adoption or being truly AI native in a fast enough way. And I think it's a big opportunity for us to, as startups, to truly build with that layer and have enough time to build distribution to truly go against some of these very large incumbents that dominate some of the industries, right? In Africa, one of the largest insurers is Old Mutual from South Africa, 170-year-old company. Today, they can't even compete. They can't even really effectively work with startups. And so I really see that some of these companies probably going to die over the next 20 years and be replaced with AI native companies.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to kind of see what happens over that change. And perhaps, George, it'd be great to hear your perspective on that same lens in kind of immersive tech and hardware. Where do you see AI sort of creating that enormous change?
Yeah, I think one of the struggles that AI, or what the previous founders had before AI in terms of XR and metaverse, these kind of technologies, was really the content creation and the connection to consumer. One of the things I think is very interesting about the potential for AI is that it could allow you to customize your own virtual worlds, for example. And the tooling, again, as we've talked about a little bit on the panel today, allows people who don't have maybe code access, designers, for example, who as my background is in design, being able to code and build something, in a way that they can then experience it themselves and then have that co-creation aspect. So I think, again, across sort of, metaverse, XR, these platforms that are merging, I do believe it kind of ends up in a full stack. Like you end up with probably the user experience layer being the metaverse or this, physical digital reality that's emerging. AI glasses, these kind of things are trending, very popularly, with, things like AI as the agents and the structure within the company to help build that. So I think that intersection really empowers people to create new experiences and new companies. And again, being able to start, with access to the tools, of course, being able to then build and create your vision for what you want people to experience is really a powerful tool.
Brilliant, thank you. And Zia, I don't know if you've had any experience of things that you're seeing in the early stage companies that you're working with that you'd like to flag.
I like to respond to both of their points. On building fast is everybody should try, right? So like right now, if you're willing to open the terminal, you can build. Now, that may only last for another 2 months or so. 2 months later, right now, Claude Code runs on your desktop. Hermes has a desktop app. Microsoft is releasing an agent on the desktop. So that speed to solve your own problem needs a cultural change, because if you're living in a big company, you're already used to you have a problem, you talk to IT. You cannot you just not assume to be able to do anything about it, right? And in the last, I would say 5-6 years, we always talk about data governance, where IT is supposed to open up all the data so that everybody can just run whatever they want. That never worked. Data is open, but you can't do much about it. You want a Tableau report, you ask to IT again, right? But today, that could truly change. So from a cultural perspective, I would assume I want everybody to just try. And that will bring about cultural shift. On hardware, I want to see, during my time, hardware is so hard, so difficult. So I always tell people, go software. hardware is
That's our moat, by the way.
yeah, I know. Like it's hard to start, right? So you need a lot of capital to start. I want to be able to see more hardware startups. Uh, I want to see if AI can bring the cost of prototyping down. Like that would be amazing. I mean, I have a hardware dream, right? But yeah, so far I'm still sticking with software.
Thank you.
If I could just add a bit, there are definitely some gaps. I have some friends in industrial design who are early into the AI creation, and there's kind of some specific points at which you can AI generate an image of something or physically imagine a product, but then when you transfer over to real 3D reality, 3D databases, things that can be machined out of steel, we call it, it's easy to do the bits side, it's harder to do the atoms side. Right. But it is kind of that stuff is that paradigm is changing. And I think that's where I hope that things like even in the world of, for example, medical devices, again, very serious problems exist in the world that need entrepreneurs building. And so being able to use, the combination of AI empowered skill sets with the realities of how manufacturing is changing in industry 4.0 or 5.0, whatever it is these days, is very, very interesting space. So, yeah.
That's fascinating. And we've made a number of references to Tesla Suit, and you're wearing a jacket at the moment. I'd love for you to just explain a little bit more about how it works to the audience. And I think if they can grab you later to maybe try it on and
Yeah.
see how it works.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm wearing the Tesla suit here. So I'm not wearing the full suit, obviously, but this is the jacket. It has jacket and trousers. Again, as I said earlier, there's 3 systems. So the electrical stimulation is done through conductive pads on the inside. So if you've ever had TENS for physical therapy, or if you're familiar with EMS, electrical muscle stimulation, that's what the electrical haptics can allow you to do. It's not like a vibration motor that actually can move your body. And then these small bumps along the suit, those are motion capture. So you have a 3D avatar in a virtual space. So if you're training again for some specific skill set performance, you can map how the body moves. You can map arm movement, all those things. And then the third system is it's built into the arm. It's a heart rate monitor, similar to like a Fitbit, but kind of on your arm. So then you can get this combination of sensor fusion to really inform the human about what they're doing in performance, but also to allow a trainer to observe and to be able to give feedback to that person. And as I mentioned earlier, we've seen a lot of interest recently in humanoid robotics, which is kind of an emerging trend in the industry, a kind of physical AI, if you will. And this is very interesting because it's using that human to robot communication and connection. So they have a saying in Scotland, I've heard, that the islands and the highlands are lacking in healthcare workers, right? They can't send people to these remote areas. So the potential for a humanoid robot to be able to be positioned in a place, and for a nurse, a caretaker, to wear something like a Tesla suit and embody that robot and take care of people is a very fascinating telemedicine sort of scenario.
Definitely. No, it's really interesting to hear that real world example. And yeah, it's brilliant. And do feel free to grab George
Yeah, if
later.
you find me afterwards,
Feel-
I can tell you
see
more.
it in action. So we're coming up to sort of the close of this panel. So I really wanted as a wrap up just to tap into a crystal ball that we all wish that we had. So maybe if you could share what your kind of unexpected but significant AI investment opportunity or innovation you believe might emerge in these next 18 months. Tara, do you want to start?
Well, I guess an improvement I'd want to see is just really basic, just enhanced reliability. Because if you work in regulated spaces and health and finance, you can't really afford hallucinations or biases. Those things pose huge threats, and they're big concerns when we think about truly having a agent workbase that can truly work autonomously. That's a really big constraint and concern right now, and a hindrance. So I really want to see just more enhanced reliability there.
Thank you. Z.
Okay. I can tell you we're looking for agent as a service companies. Right now, everybody's building their own agents. We have a deployment problem. Like someone built an agent, you could share your skills, but even that is clunky. It's almost like you will tell your colleague how to build that same agent again. And so I see a lot of opportunity if founders can move fast. It's like, oh, this is how we do marketing. This is how we do sales. This is how we do CS. and you just use ours, right? And you don't have to tinker around. You don't need to know anything. Just it will pop up on your Microsoft Teams, and just go pay us $10 a month. That is how I see things will work. I want to see more of that.
Great. And George.
Yeah, I think it was fascinating earlier when James was speaking about the agents and the agent organizations, or the next evolution of agents. I think for us, we're a startup, right? So we're obviously looking at saving cost and optimizing the people that we have. So definitely, training our workforce at the cutting edge of this. What's interesting too, from the side of the human data we're collecting, is the ability to be able to train other LLMs, with human performance and ideally in medical situations to be able to gather and really bring that value to the world. So I don't know if that's in the next year and a half, but that's a long-term ambition that we have in our medical application.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much to my panelists. It's really good to have you along today. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.